listening to the Hometown Losers, the St. Louis Sports Podcast, with Josh, Adam, and OJ.
Hey everybody, welcome back here to the Hometown Losers Podcast. This is session number 37. Shout out to Kevin Smith. And I'm joined always here by my co-hosts and OJ and Adam. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Doing great on this Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, I didn't even recognize that was Friday the 13th.
Yeah,
Normally
how about this? It's Friday. Yeah, I was going to say we need to also do a little shout out to Jason as well.
Yeah,
so
Jason Voorhees. Yeah.
Got to do a throw out to him as well. Shout out to Jason Voorhees. Shout out to Kevin Smith. 37th episode in a row. There you go.
Yeah,
it's my boy.
Yep.
Yeah, it's that's crazy. I didn't even know it was Friday the 13th. That's weird. I went to Spirit to take a look at some costumes and stuff like that on Friday the 13th. Interesting. Maybe
You
should have
picked up
something.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly. should have picked up a hockey mask. There you go.
That's something, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, obviously we normally do our podcast on Thursdays, but we got to watch the Blues game last night, and
let's go Blues.
It's Friday, so yeah, let's go.
Let's
Blues.
go Chiefs. If you're Josh and Chiefs. Adam.
Yeah. If you're OJ, the NFL doesn't exist.
I don't.
I'm sorry.
There's I don't pay attention to the robber barons league. All right.
I know.
That's not what I'm about.
Trouble, man.
So good.
Well, and speaking of that, though, let's go STL City.
Let's go STL City. Let's go.
Let's talk about STLSC here, guys. So quick update for the listeners here. We only have one game left, but we are 17-5-11. That's 56 points. We have clinched first in the West, and we have also have the most wins in their first year by an expansion team. So I tell you, City is really, really good. We are also, by the way, second in goal differential right now with plus 19. Columbus got plus 20. But this has been an incredible year for St. Louis, especially picking up an expansion team and really showing, MLS, and not even just MLS, but the country, that we really do like our soccer here quite a bit. And we really do pack the house.
We don't even need Messi here. We can just show up.
Exactly. Yeah. And if it wasn't for Messi, we would have had, 4 players in the top 10 of jersey sales. Now, that being said, a lot of that's going to be because you're selling a lot of those jerseys to brand new users, like myself. That are not users, but brand new, like fans and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So you're going to have a little bit of a spike there.
Users of the jerseys. There you go. You're an end user.
Jerseys. Yeah, exactly. It'd be interesting to see if like Klaus is still on that list next year, Leuven on that list next year as well, or Berkey.
I'll buy one next year just to make it happen.
There you go.
I still haven't bought one, so
yeah, I haven't either. So I'll buy one next season. There you go.
I bought a jersey and
it'll have a patch on. It'll have a patch on there showing that we won the cup. So there you go.
Very nice.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if STL City wins the MLS Cup, we're gonna get face tattoos. I'm just kidding.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah,
there's way too likely.
way too much of a probability field on that one. I'm not gonna touch that one. Yeah, it's I wouldn't go ahead.
It could be small.
It can be small, little dot on your cheek.
It could be like one of the little tears, like I'm just so happy. I'm so happy.
Maybe I'll shave my beard and like get it on my jawline. And
there you go. And then you never see it ever again. There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Anyways, so let's talk a little bit about winning the West here. Just kind of get one of your guys' general feelings here. What does this mean for City going forward? OJ, I'll start with you. What do you feel that St. Louis winning the West does for STLSC going forward? Does the MLS teams all of a sudden go, oh crap, this team is real? What are your feelings on it?
Well, so I honestly think that Like how far forward are you talking here? Like
let's just say the next like 5 years. You say put
okay,
it
yeah.
that in this
I mean,
perspective. Yeah.
I could see it maybe launching you into sort of like a Vegas Golden Knights type of start to your existence. I mean, I don't see any reason why they should regress. It looks like they identified talent and brought it here and trained them up and all that. And like, it looks like it's a very well run organization, honestly. So to me, like, this is like, hell yeah, let's dominate this fucking league,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that we were able to bring in quite a bit of talent. And it's going back to when we had Danny on the podcast, all those months ago. Talking about how they were able to get here, get their housing and all that stuff figured out, and then start to play and be able to work with teammates and stuff very early on in the process that allowed them to mesh quite a bit. And I think that again, having the talent along with the chemistry for the team then goes really, really long ways. And obviously the reason why we won the West. I think that the question truthfully goes into, are we going to be able to retain Leuven?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the 2019 Blues all over again, where we're rock solid and then it all goes up, falls apart? We just can't retain it, like you said. I wanted to bring up that point because that's the only fear is like you do so good, then everybody's worth goes up as well, and you can't afford them and to keep them on,
or they go to overseas.
Sure, absolutely, they could be going to other leagues as well where they could be making more money, which they have already been offered before. Some of our players, prime example of that. So it's very possible, but that still doesn't make us not win a cup, though. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's just it'll be interesting to see if we can proceed, if we can have this kind of if we can be a contender next year as well. That's really for sure. I mean, this could all just be beginner's luck. That's just how things are. But if we can come back next year and show domination in the Western Conference, I mean, who can argue with you then at that point,
Exactly. Yeah. OJ, what were you going to say?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't think this is like, the XFL or something. Like, if people are signed to play for you, they have to play for you. Like, if somebody from the English Premier League says they want to get one of our guys, like, they can't just break their contract. You know what I mean? Like, we could sell them.
Right.
So my point is, we kind of control that for some of these guys at this point. I mean, obviously that you'll still have to worry about losing people because they will. I mean, that's the success story, right? If somebody can go from playing on your team in the MLS to like the Premier League or some shit, then like you're gonna have a bunch of players coming into your academy and all that stuff, and it's gonna be good news for you. But like Leuven, I'm pretty sure he's with us at least next year too. But yeah,
I'm just double checking here. Actually, technically, yeah, he is. He's actually under base salary of 1.2 million. All the way through 27, and he has a club option at 27. So there you go.
So I mean,
we could trade him Leuven's only getting paid $1.2 million.
Yes,
that's pretty good for MLS.
And he has a guaranteed. That's his base salary. His guaranteed salary, is 1.3. But yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not incredible. I mean, that still makes you incredibly wealthy. I mean, because he's getting that a year for all those years. Like, he's good.
Yeah, the highest player that we're paying is, I think, Berkey. So
that makes sense.
And I don't think Berkey's probably going anywhere either. Because I mean, he could have played in a bunch of other leagues, and he's
here until at least 25. So it looks like.
And I think that Berkey specifically wants to stay in MLS. And obviously City's on part of that, but I think he wants to stay in MLS because he's got a lot of good exposure. And it's like I look back on it all the time, and it's just like, because I had a conversation with some of my friends about that, and they're like, well, why wouldn't they go to the Premier League and stuff? I'm like, okay, well, it's like being a senior in not necessarily being good enough to start on varsity. So like you're gonna be riding the pine at the varsity level, or do you just go to the JV level and go out there and start, and so you can actually play? Which one of those are you more or less likely going to enjoy? Like if the team is really good where you might be able to win state or something like that in high school, then maybe you want to look at varsity if you want to get a ring. But if you want to play and you want to work on your craft and that's who you are as an athlete, then stick with the JV team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, it still kind of has an argument because there's a lot of teams and leagues between St. Louis and Dortmund.
Oh, for sure.
So he could have started at even a higher quality club, probably, as far as I can tell. There's probably some other league that would have been happy to have. So I don't know why he came here, but I'm happy he did because he's a fucking stud.
I'm so glad he did.
Got him for a while, and we have Klaus for a while too. Like I think we have all three of them at least. And then if you look at our City 2 and some of the guys we brought up this year, like Aziel Jackson started the year in City 2, and now he's like a really good starter for us most nights at the number 10 spot. Like, I mean, we got we got a lot of talent in the system. It looks like it really does. That should sustain us for a while. It's pretty impressive what they're able to do.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Not just at 2.0, Jay. It's very impressive. Not only did they have a good season, obviously winning the West, but it looks like we are truly set up for success in the next couple of years. And even if we have a target on our back, obviously winners of the West, and you kind of know who we are. I think honestly, because of the fact that we won, because you see our brand new facilities, that everything is all sparkly and shiny new, and you see the passion of the fans, I think more MLS players are going to maybe look at us for signing contracts with us. You know what I mean? I think that we could even get better from that.
For sure. I mean, everyone wants to play for a winning team, so.
But yeah,
absolutely, and especially.
Go on.
Well, especially if you can develop them too, because like that's how it works. They have their like own academies and shit. So if people see you graduating guys to like the European leagues and stuff, they're gonna be like, well, shit, I think I want to try and go to their academy. Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's how you become a monster in the MLS.
Yeah. But I do believe that this team definitely is set up for success in the future. I kind of already made that point where I believe the veterans can come here too. But I do believe that it's going to be very interesting to see if we can keep this up. Like, let's say for the next 5 years, and just using that again as like a reference point, can we win the West, 3 times in those 5 years? I think it's very difficult to do because it's not like we have an established team that has been consistently up at the top, like more not really LAFC, because LAFC's got a couple of good players just recently, and now they've kind of built themselves up. Before that, it was LA Galaxy, but Seattle Sounders have been very, very solid for a very long time in the West. So that's kind of the only thing that I look for is I really hope it's not a flash in the pan. But to your point, OJ, that you brought up, it's not like the XFL where we do control these players. And yes, they may demand that they get released. That can happen. They can say, I'm just not going to play for you. But I believe that it'll be a lot less of that compared to like the XFL. Like, for example, for the Battlehawks, we don't even know who's going to be our starting quarterback because AJ McCarron is
he's gone. We don't know. Like half our team is gone, dude.
Where'd AJ go to?
He went to Cincinnati because Joe Burrow got injured, and he is now on their practice team. Now, here's the good news about that.
The Bengals.
He could come back. Correct. He could very well come back. He could absolutely could.
He has until literally the new year. If he's still on an NFL contract, he has to stay with that NFL contract. But if he either gets released or he decides to walk away to come back to St. Louis, and this is a lot of people are saying that he's not necessarily having a great time. Like, he went to Cincinnati, which was the team that drafted him, right? He went to there because there was potential opportunity for him to be the number 3 quarterback. But now that Joe Burrow is back and is consistently playing, he's back down to like the number 4. So you're not going to be the backup on the practice team. You know what I mean? Especially,
and I think, and he wanted to do this to be able to play too. Yeah, and he's wanted to play
he wanted to work on his craft. Yeah, exactly.
But he thought he may have a shot here at least. And he might. And what is it that he's losing by doing this? Because the point is he could absolutely come back before the end of the year. So he might as well go try out.
Yeah. Take your shot.
Go out and work on your craft. You're playing with NFL guys. You're getting NFL equipment and all that stuff. Able to stay. You know what I mean? Like, so there's really no downside to this as long as you come back. If there's a massive downside if he does not come back.
Oh yeah.
Because then again, we don't know who the hell is going to be our quarterback. But it's going to be interesting. I do believe too, not to get off of the topic because I want to stick with City, but I do believe that XFL this coming year is going to be very interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of people from the practice teams all of a sudden go, you know what? I'm done with like the NFL until like because I feel that I'm just not getting playing time and I want to go prove it, and they'll come down the XFL. I really believe that we're going to start seeing some of that, more players coming down and leaving at the same time.
Well, yeah, especially if it was a success. And I think overall it was a pretty successful, comeback for him,
It's really going to take people making the jump to the NFL and having like legit careers,
Right.
Once people start doing that, then you'll see more people doing what you're talking about. But right now, if guys are on a practice squad, they're like, I at least have this. Like, I'm not letting go of it until I have to. You know what I mean?
Well, yes and no. Because, like, for example, what I mean more or less is going to be like veterans that are not getting the contracts that they want. So, because here's the thing about it. It could be in the middle of the XFL season, and if an NFL team comes to you and says, "Hey, here's the contract that we want to sign you," they can sign them right away. That's the whole reason why the XFL made that partnership, that they weren't going to hinder the NFL teams. And I look at veterans like Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt was trying to find a team, couldn't find anything until the injury to Nick Chubb. Then, Cleveland decided, okay, we'll bring Kareem Hunt back. But Kareem Hunt wasn't getting a contract anywhere. So then if I'm Kareem Hunt, I go, okay, you know what? I'm going to prove it that I still have it. I'm going to go start on a team and I'm going to dominate that league. Put up ridiculous numbers so another team looks at me and goes, okay, this guy can still play. You know what I mean? I think we're definitely going to see older running backs especially with the running back state in the NFL, in the XFL. But again, we're getting off of the topic of STLSC. We're going from football to football.
Football to football.
We need to bring it back a little bit. But yeah, so I'm very excited, obviously, for City coming into these playoffs. I know that I'm going to be going to at least one game, right? Right, Adam?
Yes, absolutely. Right at the end of this month, it looks like most likely they have yet to select the date, but I think between like the 29th, 30th, or somewhere in there, I believe will be the first game. So yeah, that'll be exciting. It'll be first round.
Very, very thankful to Together Credit Union. I just got to give that
shout
out.
This is a shout out.
To give me the City Plus membership for free. That's awesome. And so that way I was able to get early access to get the strip tickets. So I'm very excited to potentially I could see every game besides the final, but we'll see what happens, right?
Achieve it with Together Credit Union at togethercu.org.
Here you go.
I figured.
Thank you, Mr. Promo.
I was going to say, apparently we're plugging them, so I was like, might as well go all out. So now you get an extra 50 cents in your you get an extra 50 cents in your credit union account now. There you go. Good luck.
I need to go to the bank tomorrow and just be like, hey, so you guys want to throw us like $5? I can give you an actual ad. So we can have paid advertisements.
That was our first real ad. There we go.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is a cool. Hey, I have to admit that is a pretty cool perk, because the fact that you get all those, like access before the public, because obviously with everybody just going crazy right now for tickets, like I looked and I think it was like 95% of season ticket holders bought the strips, and then immediately all the the plus members or whatever bought all the rest. So pretty much there's nothing left for the general public, or very little.
So as you know, like we were on the phone discussing tickets or whatever, and it was like 10-minute conversation about, okay, this tickets and like price points and stuff like that. And all of a sudden they were gone. And I'm like, what? And so then I had went back into it, and they released another wave, and all those tickets were gone. So I was like, all right, well, at this point we just kind of need to be in our price point. Any tickets are available, and hopefully get the checkout.
I was like, just pull the trigger.
I was finally able to get into the checkout. But
yeah, 95% of ticket holders opted to secure their seats for the playoffs. So there you go. I'm surprised it's not 100, but
Yeah. That is crazy. But let's take a look at the playoff preview here. So I want to give a quick rundown of how the MLS playoffs are going to work for anybody that's not too familiar with it. It is different this year because there's going to be more teams in it compared to the past years. So there is the wild card. There's no longer the first seed used to get a first round bye. That's not the case anymore. There is quote unquote wild card. The wild card's going to be played between the eighth and ninth team in a winner take all. There's going to be no extra time. It'll be going straight to a shootout if the game is tied after 90. The winner of that will take on City. And then at that point in time, it's going to be 4 versus 5, 3 versus 6, 2 versus 7, 1 versus, again, City versus the 8th or 9th team. It will be the best of 3 in that one. There's no aggregate. So if anybody doesn't know what aggregate means, in like La Liga, Premier League, and stuff like that, they do a lot of this, especially in playoffs, where you play a home and away game. And then whoever scores the most goals in those 2 games moves on. Doesn't matter. You could still lose one game 1-0 and win the second game 4-0, and you would move on 4-1 in aggregates at that point in time. They're not doing that. They're just doing a straight up win. They're trying to also kind of expedite it a little bit for the first round. So if the game is tied after 90, we're going straight to shootouts for any one of those first round games. After that, it goes into a win or go home situation. So it's not a best of 3, best of 5, or anything like that. It just goes into a single elimination, and it's standard extra time rules, and that goes all the way down until the finals. So taking a look here for our potential playoffs, we are possible matchups. We have San Jose Earthquakes, FC Dallas, Sporting KC, Minnesota United FC. So I'm going to go through a little statistics here. I'm going to ask you guys each individually what your thoughts about the team we're going to be facing and what you think that should we be concerned or should we not be concerned as City fans. Let's talk about San Jose Earthquakes. San Jose Earthquakes right now, because they still have a game left to play, they're 10, 13, and 10 for a total of 43 points again with a game left to play. We currently this year are 2-0 against them, and we are 4-1 in goals out of those two games. Currently, the tracker has their probability of making it to the first round and winning that wild card game at 18%. Adam, I'm going to start with you. What's your thoughts on San Jose Earthquake? Did they scare you?
Not really, honestly. Of the top few teams, I'll reserve my comment for the others afterwards. Honestly, we put up a pretty good showing against San Jose this year. They just, I honestly think that we can continue to, we'll see a good showing as long as St. Louis stays healthy going into it. But let's see what happens. But I think it'll be a pretty quick first round for us. So I expect us to go 2-0 at that point, and we'll win it without a single win from San Jose. So I expect to be over in 2 games.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. If we face San Jose, I think it'll be a 2-0 sweep. They don't concern me really. Their back structure is really bad, and I think now that we have Clausen has a lot of the height ability and stuff like that, as well as the explosive play, I think he can definitely get
the 2 matches we've had against them, they've only scored 1 goal against us. So there you go.
I know, that's what I said. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. We were 4-1.
I'm not too worried. Yeah. And they've only scored 1 of the two matches. They've only scored 1 goal total. So I'm not too worried.
Exactly. Yeah. OJ, what's your take on San Jose? I mean, you kind of with us on that? Are you not really too fearful for them?
Yeah, we ought to roll. We got home field all the way through till the cup. So I honestly think we're going to roll all the way through because I just think these dudes know how to play soccer really well. I think they play the sport the right way, and they have talent, which is just a killer combination.
Yeah, and that's something I did not mention. So the best of the 3, the way this works, it'll be a home game for the higher seed. So for us, the second game will be away. The third game, if needed, will be at home as well. Let's take a look here at the most likely team to be able to get out of the wild card and be facing us. That is FC Dallas. FC Dallas currently is at 10, 12, and 10. They have 2 games left. They have 42 points. That's the reason why they have a high probability, but they also could slip into the 7th position and not even be in the wild card spot. Just depends We are 1-1 against Dallas this year, but we are 2 goals for us, 3 for them in the goal differential. They have a 28% chance, according to the playoff probability tracker, to get to that place. OJ, I'm going to start with you on this time. What's your thoughts on Dallas? Do they scare you? Do you have any nerves about facing them compared to some of the other teams?
Yeah, Dallas is one of those teams that you don't want to play in the playoffs. They're kind of like the Blues under Ken Hitchcock. Like they play good defense. They play hard, and they're gonna drag you down and turn into a low-scoring game that can go either way. So they're definitely a team I'd be worried about facing.
Yeah, and I agree with you completely, OJ, because we didn't have the greatest showing. Yes, we were able to avenge our loss to them earlier in the season. But again, on aggregates here, it's 2 for us, 3 for them in a 1-1 showing, right? So to me, that kind of like leaves a little bit more of ambiguity to what potentially could happen. It's not like more to me like San Jose Earthquake or definitely the next team I'm going to mention. I think it would be more of a foregone conclusion. That we're just better. We're a better team. We have better talent. But I'm not terribly too certain. FC Dallas has been everywhere this season from number 3 in the West all the way down to 12. So they've kind of been all over the place, right? But it's just not a team that, as you said, that you want to face, especially in the playoffs, especially. And if it comes down to like a game 3, win or go home kind of situation, you much rather try to take an easier path of resistance, right?
Absolutely.
Adam, what's your thoughts on FC Dallas?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Of San Jose and Dallas, I definitely do not want to be facing Dallas. To OJ's point, they definitely have they have a strong defense. We've clearly seen this before. I think they shut us out in one of their games, if I remember right.
They did, yeah. 2-0. They game number 1.
Yeah, and then the other one was still a pretty close game as well.
Yeah, 2-1 we won.
Yep, 2-1. So yeah, we definitely don't really want to face Dallas if we can. That one would definitely. I expect if we do, we're going to be seeing all 3 games, but I think we'll see a win at home and for St. Louis.
That's kind of what I have it as well. If we face Dallas, I wouldn't be surprised to win game 1, lose game 2 in Dallas, right, and then win game 3 here at home.
That's what I'm expecting. Yep. And it'll be low scoring and tight, but I think we got to win still. I think we're if you stack the 2 teams, we're still a better team on paper than they are.
I agree with that. Yeah. Let's take a look at the 3rd team on this list, and it's Sporting Kansas City. So Sporting Kansas City, with 1 game left, they are 11 wins, 8 draws, 14 losses. Again, with 1 game left, they have 41 points. We are 2-1 against them in the season, and 9-3 goal differential. I'm sorry.
Wait, how many have we lost to them?
1.
2-1.
We're 2-1 against them.
Okay, I gotcha.
So,
there was one earlier in the season. That's right. I forgot about that one. My bad.
Yep, it was this. Yeah, so we won 4-0 in our first game, our first outing against them. We lost our second outing against them, I think 2-1, and then I think we won 4-1 in our 3rd game.
Yeah, that's right. I completely forgot about that one earlier in the season, but yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the playoff probability tracker has them at 7% right now to make it to that next round. I'll start with this one. Sporting KC does not scare me at all. I'm very surprised we even lost that second game to them, but they won 2-1. You know what I mean? And then the other games were 4-0 us, 4-1 us. So I really just believe that it's not to say the Sporting KC can't get the job done. I am not threatened by them by any stretch.
And that was in KC on top of it too. So
for sure, for that second game,
well, the game that we lost. So I'm not really all that concerned about KC, honestly. I would easily face KC or San Jose, and I would say we'd be able to go in and sweep them.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think Kansas City's scared of us too because, when that game they did beat us in, obviously the ref had to miss a handball and
that's true.
Stuff had to go really wrong.
Valid
for
point.
us.
Yeah, that really was.
But
they were. Yeah.
Well, but more importantly, if you notice that game, like I've never seen a team waste so much time once they get ahead. Like it was disgraceful the amount of time they wasted in that game. Like it felt like somebody was injured after every stoppage because they're taking that long to get to the ball to throw it in and shit. Like I've seen teams, like I've watched most of the games this season, so I've seen teams play St. Louis when they're ahead, and there's a difference between not rushing to like do something, and then there's like what Kansas City was doing. It was straight up just, like I said, it was disgraceful.
There's a difference between sportsmanship and being an ass. You know what I mean? I'll kind of give this as an example, right? So, like, as you guys know, and most of the listeners, because I talk about it feels like every week, I play softball, but you're on a time limit. So you're on a 50-minute time limit for each game. So a team that we are facing just recently, they were up, and it's not a team that normally gets up against us. And we were kind of getting a little frustrated. We weren't able to get any hits or whatever. But towards like the last like few innings, when we started getting momentum, the pitcher like took his sweet time. Like after every pitch, he stepped off the mound, wiped his brow, and would like kind of get set. And there was several times where he would like double clip, or like he would talk to like one of the infielders. This was like literally. So I'm on deck, and all of a sudden like the third baseman says a joke, and he starts like he doubles over and he's just laughing about it, and then he turns in and like has a conversation with this guy for not that long, but still like a minute or two, and you're like, that could have at least been 2 pitches. Like, dude, come on, like that's not like sportsmanship at that point. That's just being an ass.
Yeah, that's delay a game. Why is the ump not calling that? That's complete
that's
delay a game.
Horse shit.
So, and I will tell you that I've never seen a delay of game called in soccer except the MLS. I've seen it in the MLS 2 years ago, and I don't remember why, but I was watching a Seattle Sounders game in the playoffs, and they got called. The ref called delay of game on them essentially for like an unsportsmanlike. Essentially, I don't remember the exact like call or what the terms would be in soccer, like what the ref would call, but essentially it was a red card. So they put a guy off the field. So it was now 10-11. The game was a foregone conclusion at that point. But he was like trying to prove a point. Like, you got to move on. Like there's just too much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I said, it was just Kansas City. I think they're just terrified to give us the ball back because they're like, holy shit, we actually might beat them. Like
right. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's like when you're facing like you're playing hoops with your older brother in the driveway. And all of a sudden, like, you get up and you're like, all right, cool. Well, this is only halfway. We're playing the 21. I'm up 15-14. Let me take the ball, and I'm just going to punt it across the street so we can, like, the game is over at this point. So that way, yeah.
Well, look, I won.
Anyways. Exactly. Yeah. It'd be like from The Office where Michael is just like, oh, yeah, foul. Oh, that was such a bad foul. Like, you did that on purpose. All right. Well, that's the end of the game. Whoever was up was won the game. Well, that was you, Michael. I guess you guys are working this week.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be awful.
Yeah, season 1, episode 5. But yeah. Anyways, let's get to the last team here that I have on the list, and that's Minnesota United FC. They are 10, 11, and 12 this season, with 41 points. They do have a game remaining. We are 1-1 against them, and we are tied on goals 2-2. There is a 6% chance that they do make it to the round 1 against us. OJ, I'll start with you here. What do you think about Minnesota? Do they scare you? Do you have any concerns there?
So, yes and no. I mean, it's kind of weird with them because when they are playing. When they're playing at home, they're pretty tough to beat. I guess it would be, or is it the other way around? I think it's the other way around. Like, they play loose when they're at home and tough on the road. But I don't know, because they also like have that just super solid defense when they're playing well anyway, and then they just quick strike attack down the field when they're able to catch you up too much. Like, that's kind of our weakness. So they're a little worrying, but I also think they've been having a really rough patch here. So I think also that they may just not be very good. Like they're very much a poor man's Dallas, I guess. Although that's probably a little insulting to Dallas. I think Dallas is more active than Minnesota is. Like, Minnesota's more like the just absolute rope-a-dope type team.
So well, it's interesting too because Minnesota's been all over the place this season as well, but they're right now at 11th. So they're 2 spots out of that. And obviously, the probability shows that they don't control their own destiny, and they are, only 6%. Their goal differential right now is -3. That's all you really have to know. You know what I mean? Like out of the teams that out of the teams that I mentioned here, the teams that we're most probably going to be facing between San Jose, Dallas, Sporting KC, and Minnesota, only one of those teams has a positive goal differential, and that's FC Dallas with +1. You know what I mean? Like San Jose is -4. Kansas City is -3, Minnesota's -3 as well. Or I said Kansas City is -5, not -3, my fault. But the only thing that does concern me a little bit, and you already brought it up a little bit, OJ, is Minnesota likes to play the trap. And if anybody doesn't remember, Minnesota ended our win streak at the beginning of the season. We were 5-0, and then in our 6th game we went up against Minnesota and lost that game 1-0. So it's going to be a tough matchup, I think, regardless. But I think that it just depends if we can get the attacking structure going, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you remember if that first game against Minnesota, was that at Minnesota? Or was that the one that was here?
No, I think it was home. Give me 2 seconds because I actually have I got like them pulled up real quick. I can tell you the results. But before I get to before I say that, actually hold on, it's probably right here. It was at City Park. That's what I thought.
Okay, so that's what it is. They play this season. They've played like way better on the road than home. So it is kind of a little, they might actually play better against us here. So that could be, since we know we'll have home field advantage, they might actually be tougher for us that way.
Yeah, well, hopefully they just get dropped out, and so we don't really have to worry about it. But Adam, I mean, what's your thoughts on Minnesota?
Yeah, I mean they don't scare me as much, but they obviously with our track record with them, it's we're going to expect probably another low scoring game, which obviously does not play to our advantage. But honestly, I really don't see that even making the wild card to begin with. They haven't been playing all that great. Yeah, the last game they won was against LA Galaxy, but that was Galaxy, so I'm not all that concerned. You know what I mean? So they overall have not been performing very well. So I'm not even really considering them.
Yeah, again, to me, out of the 4 teams, they're the second one that scares me the most. I mean, Dallas still scares me the most for sure, but I think that Minnesota, I think we can beat them for sure. Obviously, we've proven that we can, but we're just gonna have to we're really structured defense regardless if we're gonna make it anywhere in the playoffs.
Yeah. We're gonna have to keep up the good work. I mean, hopefully that who was it that didn't play in Vancouver? Well, anyway, one of our center backs sat out the Vancouver game. So and he's the newer guy that we got back healthy. He's been pretty good defensively for us. So hopefully he can stay in for all the playoffs.
Yeah, that's the thing about it, is it's staying healthy too. So we'll because it's super fun. By the way, I just got to say this because we're gonna move on from MLS and City here in a second, but. Isn't it kind of funny how there's no more conversations about Miami anymore?
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Well, we all been saying it for a while.
Except that they nominated Messi for MVP.
Well, of course they did.
So and here's the funny thing.
Little bit he actually played, but whatever.
I understand completely that he should be nominated MVP. Should he win it? Absolutely fucking not. But I can understand.
He wasn't even here for half the season.
I honestly don't think he should even be nominated, dude. Like he's been hurt so much at this point. He hasn't even played. Yeah. He's played like a game or something for actual MLS. Most of the games he's played with Miami were in Leagues Cup.
Yeah. So that doesn't qualify.
So the only reason why, and I'm not saying they're saying that he should be like in a finalist. The reason why I say that he should be nominated more in the fact of like he should be nominated as the MVP for Miami, not for the league, right? That's kind of what I mean.
Well, yeah, but they have nothing else going on in Miami.
For sure.
Why
each team has they drew a shitload of money because people actually are interested in them because they, he drew all that interest in Miami, so in the MLS. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I guess from a name recognition perspective, but the fact is that he just hasn't performed enough to qualify for MVP. I mean, that's just kind of an insult to everybody else. It's just like, oh yeah, I came in the last 5 minutes and I got the MVP, but yet it's like, well, what about everybody else that's been here for the entire season and performed, to the top notch? So
Berkey or Leuven, I think deserves MVP. If I'm
slap
being
in the face,
honest. Yeah, exactly. Two. Or I mean, Cincinnati has a really good team as well. Their goaltender has been phenomenal as well. But it's very interesting the about face that not just. Like the entire MLS and ESPN is they've all backed off on like the Messi stuff, which understandably he's gotten injured and stuff. But I remember it was a couple of weeks ago. I mean, at this point, it's probably 3 weeks ago. But I was watching the City game, and so it goes to halftime, and then everybody on that little halftime show thing or whatever was talking about the rest of the league and stuff, and they were talking about Miami and how Miami was a foregone conclusion that they were going to make the playoffs. And I'm sitting there going, guys, they're still 9 fucking points out. You're making the seem like they're just gonna waltz in because they have Messi. Dude, they're still 9 points out. Yes, they still have like a bunch of games in hand, but it's still stupidly hard to do that. Do you not understand? They're 3 full games back. And so here's the funny thing: when Messi came into the league and came into MLS, Miami was 14th in position wise. Guess where they're at now? 14th.
Yeah.
Just saying, and they most likely, yes, they've only played 32 games. They have 2 games in hand, but the team in front of them is New York City FC with 38 points. So the likelihood here of them sticking in 14th place, they're not going to drop to 15th because Toronto is the worst team in the league with only 22 points. I mean, Toronto has 4 wins this year and 19 losses. Like, good Lord, like it's just bad for Toronto, right? But again, like it's going to be interesting to see next year when they have Messi for the full year and all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. But Messi's so busy with international scheduling and stuff like that. Plus, he's also older. I'm not even terribly too certain that Messi is going to stick around for that long, if I'm being quite honest. Like, I think that he's already accomplished everything. He's got nothing to prove anymore. He's already accomplished everything he needs to. I think that he's going to stick with maybe 2 more years in MLS, maybe. But who knows?
It'd be interesting if he does sign with Barcelona as well and go back to Barcelona. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, because they're really wanting him back. But it does sound like he is very, very content in the MLS right now. So who knows?
I mean, he would have to be exhausted, I would think, after all that. You know what I mean? Like he's going to have absolutely no break. Go back to Barcelona and then immediately have to come back to Miami.
Well, no, you can't do that. So you wouldn't be able to play in La Liga and MLS. So you wouldn't.
Well, I'm just saying he would have to probably miss out on a couple of months at the beginning for Miami.
But you can't. If you're on contract with Barcelona, you are not you're on a soccer contract, and those are kind of like global. So he wouldn't be able to play for both teams. That's kind of what I was getting at.
So you're saying that he wouldn't be able to return at that point?
No. So if he signs a contract with Barcelona, he's going to Barcelona. He cannot come back to MLS unless he is.
I thought they could loan him out, but
or trade. Yeah, you can loan him for sure. You can loan him, but then he's not playing for Barcelona. He's not so the way the loans work is so I loan you a player, but that doesn't mean that he's playing for me and for you. He's only playing for.
I understand that. No, I get that. I'm talking about though after Barcelona's done, they could send him back to Miami though.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't really work.
It's okay.
Like
we can
either.
move on.
Yeah,
it's okay.
So, but there is a lot of speculation to your point, Adam, that he is going to be going back to Barcelona. But after his nasty exit, I don't know if he's going to want that. But who knows? At this point. So.
Yeah.
Anyways, go on.
I'd certainly hope if you're Miami.
Oh yeah, for sure. And honestly, if you're an MLS fan, period, I mean, regardless, like, the whole messy hype train really irked me this year, but it's still good for MLS. You know what I mean? It's bringing in a lot of passion and a lot of fan base to those games. So hopefully, he can, and we can continue to have a good product, and soccer in America can continue to grow.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, let's transition here to the team that got their season started last year.
Last
yesterday.
night.
Yeah, and that is our St. Louis Blues.
Let's go Blues.
Yeah, they're 0-1 now.
We got to pick up a point, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a 2-1 shutout loss to Dallas. And so for anybody that does not didn't watch or is not paying attention to it, I guess, but the season has officially started. Let's just get some reactions about the game, and kind of go from there. Adam, I want to start with you. What was your kind of reactions to game one? Were your takeaways? Anything that you feel that we need to work on? Anything that we did well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Bennington definitely showed up last night for sure. Yes. I was happy to see that he was, performing well under pressure in that, and he honestly reminded me the old school Benny. I was really happy to see that for sure. But, for me, by the way, I also want to call out, I'm really glad that Sonny's back too. He, I think, looked pretty well last night as well. He had like 3 shots on goal, I think, overall. So really happy. Long hair and all. So happy to see that Sonny's back, and he's been great too. He's definitely been putting out a lot of statements and whatnot and talking about working their asses off. And he's definitely the go-to guy, it's kind of like drumming up some support, and trying to get the guys excited again for playing hockey. So I'm glad to see he's back and got a good attitude about it. But, and I would say, Robert Thomas, he was glad to see him. I think overall, he was pretty good, on the penalty kill overall. So, we don't really have a lot to base this off of. It's only one game.
Yeah, it's only one game.
But I think we did. I think we showed up, though. I really did. I wasn't completely disappointed with that game. I mean, yes, it sucked that we had to lose in a shutout, or in a shootout. But yeah, but. I honestly think that we showed up last night, and then, honestly, they were playing harder, and that's the kind of Blues that I was hoping to see for a while.
Yeah, my takeaways were very similar to what you just said, Adam. Like, Bennington was sensational last night. There was 4 or 5 times that he absolutely like that save on Joel Pavelski in the second period.
That game should have never went to overtime. Honestly, Dallas should have really won that at that point, because that guy was stopping him left, right. He was on his, he was on his head.
Yeah, he made several 2019 era Jordan Bennington saves that I was very impressed with. I also do like the push, the quick push to tie the game in the second period. So you give up a goal in the first minute of the second off of a great individual play by Jamie Benn, that was able to get to the front of the net, and he's a goal scorer, and he had a very good shot. Bennington did a very good position taking away the bottom areas of the net, but Ben's just going to be able to put that up, and it was a very good goal from Ben. But the work that we put into it to get the pushback, the response, that's the biggest thing. And in Berube's system, this system is really, and for the Blues, it's built on our responses, not necessarily taking it to them every single time, but how do we respond when we get a penalty called against us? How do we respond when we do score a goal, or a goal is scored against us? We have to be able to match the moment emotionally and understand the urgency. But we immediately had urgency there, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it, because we missed that a lot last year. Immediately after they scored that goal, and the way they scored it,
I got the pressure.
I'm like, here we go. Like,
well,
we're going to give up a second goal, and like now the game's going to run away.
The energy, I think, was there from the start to the end of the game. Honestly, like, you didn't see them let up. I think the energy was still there from the preseason. So they actually were working with each other. It just looked like that they were, they weren't like the wore out Blues that we saw at the end of last season, where they were just completely out of gas and they just didn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't care anymore. And it feels like, okay, maybe they're actually going out here and putting up a good fight for a change. So while it was a defeat, I feel, pretty decent about it. I'm excited to see, tomorrow night for sure.
Yeah. Now I will say the only downfall that I had, at least in my thing here, like things we need to work on, the shots. It was 24-33, and I understand you're facing the Dallas Stars, and no pun intended. There's a lot of star power on that team. They have a lot of good names. They are a very good team. They are one of the favorites to potentially win the West and get to the Stanley Cup final this year. But 24 shots on net is not going to win you very many games. In fact, 24 shots on net wins you, not joking, 13% of the time. That's not going to win you a lot of games. 33, like I think that when you get into the 30s, lower 30s to upper 30s, or even mid 30s, that's when you get in your sweet spot. And that's what the Blues need to do. They need to be able to, obviously, there was a lot of penalty kills that we had to address, but we need to be able to generate more shots. We got to be able to curate more offensive chances. And again, 24 shots is not going to get the job done. That's 8 shots per period, where compared to 11. So Binnington was great, but we cannot continue to rely on him in that way. We have to be able to make this more even. That's just kind of, I guess, if there's a negative thing I have to put down to it, it's got to be that.
Well, I agree with that, and obviously we're not going to rely on Binnington the whole time, and unfortunately that's where he kind of got strung out to dry last season as well, is the fact that there was nobody, there was no defense in front of him helping him out, so he can't continue to be the only guy that's on our D line that's actually showing up to work, so to speak. So no, it can't be all on him.
OJ, what was your thoughts on the game last night?
Well, I thought it was the same way. I mean, I actually was listening to the radio call while I watched it. And so Joey Vitale called attention to it a couple times. And he was saying, how all 5 of them got back into the slot multiple times and make sure that they got any rebounds and stuff and got it right out. And they seemed calm with the puck in their zone under pressure by Dallas. I saw several guys make some really just calm plays and move the puck up. I saw some dumb plays too, but there were times where I was impressed with how cool they were while they were being pressured pretty hard.
There was a few times that I saw that Parayko made some kind of questionable passes in the defensive end. I will say that, okay, it's still game 1. Yes, you had a preseason of 3-4 games that you may or may not be playing. So a lot of that could be the off-season rust, but, as you said, OJ, for the most part, it did seem that the team was definitely more comfortable. The entire time they felt like they were engaged in the game, which is a complete 180 compared to what we felt last year as fans watching it. I mean, it felt like they were so disconnected. You know what I mean?
Dude, they fucking battled that game, last game. I mean, that was it was really fun to watch. And I mean, Jordan Kyrou stuck out to me too. He was all over the ice making plays. That's good to see because, I mean, I thought he did some conditioning work or something this season in the off season. So it's good to see that paying off for him a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And you need Kyrou to step up here. If he's going to be the bona fide goal scorer in this team, he's going to have to be able to. And the thing about him is, specifically him and Robert Thomas, they have to prove it this year. This is their year, and if not, then Doug Armstrong's going to have to make some really difficult decisions. Do we do a complete full rebuild or not? Because if they go into then let's just say this ends up being similar to last year, where you can feel towards the middle of the season, even at that point, they're kind of phoning it in, and there's no energy. I mean, if I'm Armstrong, I'm sending these guys away. Yeah, I get it. You want to hold on to them and stuff like that, but at this point, get rid of all the heavy end contracts. And you'll start over what the Detroit Red Wings are, because at least you'll see some passion from young kids. Even though they're losing, you much rather see that. You know what I mean? To your point, OJ, it was fun to watch. Even though they lost, it was a fun to watch. Even if they would have lost in regulation 2-1, it still was. It would, to me, it was uplifting. You know what I mean? I had several people text me yesterday that said, "Hey, you know what? After 2 periods, they don't look all that bad." you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was actually enjoyable. It was actually enjoyable.
Exactly.
You didn't want to turn it off after a period, that's for sure. So, because I kept, of course, switching back. I was watching, the Blues game and the Chiefs game, but of course I was trying to, I was paying pretty close attention to the Blues game because it was actually enjoyable. So I wasn't expecting that, honestly, going in. So
they didn't look like
definitely. And that's exactly what ended up happening with me, Adam. Obviously, I had both the games on and TVs right next to each other. And I thought that I was going to be primarily focused on the Chiefs, but I ended up getting pulled back to the Blues.
Yeah, I was going to say the Chiefs game was kind of boring, honestly. So not to get into that whole thing.
Yeah, we're not going to get to that, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'll just say the Chiefs game was overall pretty damn boring, and the Blues game was actually, much more exciting to watch. So, which was a nice change of pace for a minute,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we kind of talked about this, but like out of the team, the one thing that I want to say too, and I've already kind of mentioned this in a little bit, one of the things I definitely like so far that they've shown, and they've shown this in preseason too, is the fight and grit that they have. They're rolling their sleeves up and doing the work. And I think that is going to go a long way, especially with Berube, because Berube he's just a no nonsense, type of coach. He wants you to roll up your sleeves and get the work done. You know what I mean? I think that in that system, if as long as you come prepared with your work pail every night and trust in your system, trust in your ability to score, or not even ability to score, but ability to produce, just trust in your other teammates as well. I think it's going to go a very long way for these guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Well, guys, there's not much else to talk about when it comes to the St. Louis Blues, because unfortunately there's only been one game in the season. But it definitely looks like we might be heading, or at least the season might be better than what we thought. After watching yesterday's game, I thought that instead of being like 12th in the West, like I had them at preseason, maybe they do sneak into a playoff spot. Maybe they do, end up being like at 8th or 7th. And we know that once you get in the playoffs, anything and everything can possibly happen. You know what I mean? Yep. So
absolutely.
You got to take a look at the Los Angeles Kings. What was it, like 2011 was the year that we were, it was 2011, because that was the year that we were in the running to win the President's Trophy, end up losing to Vancouver in the last game, faced the Kings in the second round after knocking off the Sharks, and then they destroyed us. And then they ended up winning the cup as the 8th seed. So,
yeah.
Anyways, let's get off of the old playoffs from the NHL, and talk about the current playoffs for the MLB. So we are now already through the divisional series, and we are into the championship series for both leagues, which is kind of crazy. Not really much fight going on.
Especially Arizona. So
Arizona's on one, and that's actually what I got here. So the first one we have is the National League Championship Series versus the Philadelphia Phillies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. But yeah, as you just said, Adam, geez, the Diamondbacks are on ridiculous streak.
It was ridiculous. Like they just took freaking LA and just like stepped on them with their foot and just scraped them off like a piece of gum and threw them away. It's just like there is no getting around that. They literally just squashed the shit out of the Dodgers. I mean, Clayton Kershaw looked like absolute shit in that game one. So.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Yeah. Same with Lance Lynn too. So I mean,
Lance Lynn looked like complete shit as well. Damn,
it was a record of 4 home runs in one inning. In the playoffs.
Shitty shit.
Yeah. Well, whenever it's against the Dodgers for a team that's trying to buy a championship like the Dodgers, it's great to see them once again fail. It's failing again in the first round and then LDS. So
and I told you, like, immediately I went to some forums and stuff like that, and there was Dodger fans that were talking about how they need to spend more money in the offseason. Yeah. I'm like, dude, you have to be sarcastic at this point.
It's like at least one, our season was. Yeah, sure. Our season was over, a little bit ago, but all you really did is get to the NLDS and you got swept. So really, did you do anything in the playoffs? Not really. So you're not really that much more ahead of the Cardinals in this, my opinion, right now. You're both hanging out on the same golf course, LA.
Amen to that, man. So. But yeah, the Diamondbacks are on one here, but the Phillies also look really good. They just knocked off Atlanta. which is kind of saying something. Atlanta looked like that was going to be the team. Yeah, and there was a lot of bad blood in that series, man. I would not be surprised. Obviously, this was the exact same series in the divisional series last year that the Philadelphia Phillies did win, obviously before getting to the World Series before losing to the Houston Astros. It's going to be interesting, man, because I think that the Philadelphia Phillies are a team that's sort of, I mean, they're on the rise, but not on the rise because they're a good team, but like they're starting to get their group back. But I can tell you right now, I can't stand the Philadelphia Phillies. I can't stand Bryce Harper. I'm tired of this shit, man. The dude needs to control his emotions. Like he's been like that ever. When he was with the Nats, it was much easier to watch him because like, okay, like he's a young kid, blah 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 blah. But like now it's like you're an older veteran and you're still doing this shit, staring down a guy. Like that's come on, man. I get it. The dude said some said some shit to you, but you're just gonna stare him down twice while rounding the bases. Like, all right, dude. That just shows me how immature you are. But whatever.
Yeah. I was gonna say Castellanos has been having a good time. That's for sure.
Yes, he has.
So back-to-back multi-home run games. So that
first player to do that in MLB history, which is crazy. Yep. Postseason.
Yeah. I was gonna say he's been having a hell of a ride there.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But I'm not like, so let's just do this, right? So let's take some predictions here. OJ, I'll start with you. Who do you got winning this series here between the Phillies and the D-backs?
Well, let's see. Who's going to be home is part of my question.
Phillies
going to have home. Probably Philly then. I mean, that team is built to win at that park, dude. Like, only in that ballpark can you stick Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos in the outfield at the same time and get away with it. Like, that's the only park where that works. Not to mention, part of the reason they mash so well is because they have a fucking bandbox and a bunch of power hitters. Like, it's pretty easy. So they're going to have home field advantage. I think they're going to take advantage of that. Not to mention, their pitchers have shown that they can, win them some games too. So they got some good starters. I think it's going to be tough for Arizona to get past them.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I really feel that this is going to be a longer series. In my opinion, I cannot root for the Philadelphia Phillies. I can't root for Bryce Harper. I'm not a Philly guy, except for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's the only thing Philadelphia I like.
Well, yeah, maybe it accurately depicts Philadelphia.
Yeah,
one of the few shows that is brave enough to accurately depict Philadelphia. Like, those are average citizens of Philadelphia. Yep. That's what that show's about. Like, those aren't abnormal in any way. Like, that's just the people that live in Philadelphia. Like,
and that's the reason why the show is literally called It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because they're woefully ignorant to the world. That's literally the whole reason why they did what they did. And I mean, like, dude. Anyways, I'll tell you, the only other show that's gotten the city right is Shameless, when it shows the south side of Chicago just being an absolute shithole.
Well, they're not wrong. Been there, done that.
The entire city of Chicago's a shithole.
Yeah, but
I don't care if you're listening to
South Chicago's god awful. It is the absolute worst. It goes from shit to shittier.
Dude, came into that. It goes from shit to the toilet.
I was going to say, we're going to have to introduce this to the title of the episode. The shittiest episode ever.
I actually think Illinois is like just really a terrible state.
It's a shitty place, you have to admit. It's a shitty place. I took a
trip to Wisconsin with my girlfriend, and we went up through we went up on the western side, so we went up through I guess Iowa or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we went up through that, and it was beautiful, gorgeous drive and everything. We're like, we'll come south through Illinois. It was on the way back, and it was terrible, dude. I mean, everyone on the highway was a piece of shit. We stopped over because she wanted to get some fucking she wanted to get some little kratom shots or something.
Can't do it.
And the guy didn't have it, and she's like, "Oh, can you tell me somewhere else?" She's like, "You think I'm gonna send you to my competition?" It's like, who the fuck are you?
My problem was
you don't have it, so then it's not a competition if you don't have the option.
My problem is coming through
to Illinois, dude.
Yeah, I was gonna say my problem is coming back one time, and of course the one place I stopped, and it was a freaking dry county. It was Edwards County. It really pissed me off. Could not believe that. Yeah, I was like, what? No alcohol? How am I supposed to get through this damn trip? This is some bullshit.
That's like going That's like going to Taco Bell and being like, I'll take a Coke. Taco Bell's owned by Pepsi, so we have Pepsi products. Well, okay, that's fine. It was like, oh yeah, like, but you got to buy the tacos here. They're like, well, okay, good luck with that. You want to go to Del Taco? Because where's the last one you've seen around? Like, Jesus Christ. Oh, that's weird, man. But I tell you, I've said this several times that specifically Chicagoans, because there's places in Illinois that I like. I like Edwardsville a lot. Edwardsville is really cool. The Bing shop over there, I'll give those guys a plug too for airsoft.
Okay, so you're cool with Southern Illinois, like most people.
100%. Yeah. Like as you said, most people. But even those people in Southern Illinois will tell you that Chicago ruins
they hate Northern Illinois. Absolutely. They're not even part of the same state. Like if they were up to them, like you put it on a ballot, they're like, join Missouri or stay Illinois. They'd be like, yeah, we're joining Missouri. So they like our taxes, they like our gas, they like our cigarettes, they like all that shit. They like our.
When I used to go into Chicago for a Blues Blackhawk game, I used to do it every single year. I can tell you so many different times when you just meet some random people and they'll be like, oh, so where are you from? They're like, oh, I'm from St. Louis, And like when you're in St. Louis and you're like, oh, I'm from Chicago, they're like, oh, that's cool. Like, that's cool, whatever. I'm not even joking with you, Adam. It feels like they're like upturning their nose to you. And one of these guys goes, oh, so you're those like Hicktown people, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you really think that Chicago's that much better than St. Louis? Bro, what have you been, dude? I don't live on a goddamn farm. I'm like, what? I'm like, really? Like, it's the people in Chicago that feel that Chicago is the Paris of the Midwest. It's like, it's a
well, I got news for him. Go to South Chicago and tell me how great it is. Yeah, so, it's literally the worst place I've ever been in the United States. That and LA. Those are two horrible places. Horrible places I would never want to go to again. South Chicago and LA.
Yeah. So anyways, let's get
the baseball here. After we started talking about shit, we immediately think of Chicago.
People to the south side. Like, the East St. Louis versus South Side here in just a second. We've got to calm down a little bit.
I mean, if we would have had a whole podcast dedicated to how much we hate Chicago, I guarantee you we can have many hours of content. So.
So next week for our next podcast, Chicago, the shit town.
No, but you're absolutely right. Town. Everybody I know from Illinois, I work with a lot of people from Illinois. They all also hate Chicago.
You know what I mean? We'd have a high rating.
It's ridiculous.
It's a great topic. You know what really grinds my gears?
Yeah.
Chicago.
That's how you get an audience.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyways, so to listeners, tell us how much you hate Chicago in the comments.
Please do. So anyways, all right, I got to get back to this. So screw Philadelphia. I have the D-backs. I have them winning in 7 just because I have to go for the Diamondbacks. Adam, who do you got in this series?
5 for D-backs.
Let's go. All right, let's get to this
They're on
last
fire
one here.
lately.
Yeah, and I'm hoping so, man. I really hope that as long as this little tiny break doesn't hurt them, which hopefully it won't. We'll see. But maybe, again, if they can win game 1, I think they have a real serious shot at this.
They really do.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Let's talk about the ALCS here. You have the other team that's surging right now, and that's the Texas Rangers. And it's the Battle of Texas as the Houston Astros make their 7th consecutive ALCS. Now, listen, Adam, you and I talked about this just recently. It is impressive. It truly, truly is impressive that the Stros have gotten to 7 consecutive
but
ALCS.
Nobody cares.
But nobody cares because they're so tainted from the trash
them. We hate them like South Chicago. Sorry, I had to take it back.
Or the Patriots.
Or the Patriots. Tom Brady.
Anyways. Yeah. Insert non-St. Louis team here. Okay. Anyways. But the thing is, the Stros are obviously still a phenomenal team. They are right now the hands-on favorite to win the World Series again because they are the obviously best team on paper out of the 4, even considering Philadelphia Phillies. But I'm hoping that the Rangers can do something here, and hopefully they get a little bit more emotion, being the Battle of Texas. But the Astros, they won their series 3-1 against the Twins. The Twins, dominated the Blue Jays. I really thought the Twins were going to be able to put up more of a fight, but the Astros are just unfortunately a good team. just kind of is what it is. I'll start with this one. I'm going to go for the Texas Rangers because I'm hoping to God the Texas Rangers can win. I have them winning in 6 just to change it up from 7. Adam, who do you got?
Rangers in 7, because I just simply will not allow the Astros to win. I don't care.
What are you going to do? Bang on a recycling bin instead of a trash
can?
I'll
bang their heads on some recycling cans. That's for damn sure. Don't make me come down to Texas.
Why? Damn sure.
We need our cosplay as Jay and Silent Bob again and do the Jay and Bob Strikes Back and just go beat the shit out of some random.
I agree.
From Houston, LA, and Chicago. That's what I'm feeling like is about to happen here, buddy. We're about to have a voyage.
We're gonna make it happen. Absolutely. So I was gonna say it's gonna happen. I was gonna say, maybe we can take Verlander and just beat the shit out of him. So there you go.
There you go. OJ,
he's gonna be facing Jordan to Montgomery in the first game too.
I know, which is nuts.
Yep.
I'll go Rangers also. I think they have something special going on this year. Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to find a way to pull it off. I mean, because honestly, they had to have built up enough credit with the baseball gods by now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You get to two World Series in a row. You get the 2 World Series in a row, and on the second one, you get to down to the other team down to the last strike twice, and you still can't win.
Yeah, they'll get a blessing this time. They'll get a blessing.
Yeah, and this is a year when no one really expected it either. So people might have thought they would be good, but I don't think anyone expected them to be like this. No. So
they were surprise buyers at the trade deadline. I really thought they were going to be sellers for sure, but they end up going out in the complete opposite. And people are like, why are you doing this? Well, all of a sudden here they are, one of the last 4 teams standing. So, they knew something we did.
Oh, exactly. I know I saw some people say they thought they'd be good, but I definitely, dismissed them myself because I'm very much I'll believe it when I see it kind of person. Mm-hmm. People have said that for other years before too, and they've been trash. So, but so I think maybe this is their time. And the Astros, fuck the Astros.
Yeah, exactly. See, I'm glad you think things our way.
Yeah.
All right, gents. Well, let's head to our sign out here. Adam, can you hit the good listeners here what our socials are?
Our socials are facebook.com/thehometownlosers, LOUSERS, and check us out on x.com/hometownlosers. We'd love to hear from you, especially your hatred for Chicago.
Please.
Yeah, that's a good.
And the Astros too. The Astros too. You can drop some hate in there as well.
That one will get a lot of traffic.
And the Phillies.
Sure.
Yep.
So, and the Patriots.
And the Patriots. Anything that you hate that's not Missouri or St. Louis related, we will accept.
Yeah.
Right.
Just tell us how much you hate Chicago. That's what we're looking for.
But looking for that content. So hit us up. Definitely like us. Share for real though.
Pants.
Well, I was going to say, if you want Josh's number, just hit up the socials and apparently just hate Chicago, and there you go. He set the bar pretty low this week, folks.
That's.
Oh my God! All right, OJ, what do you have for the game of the week, bud?
All right, so we're gonna do 2 because I think that's what I want to do this week. So of course you have Mizzou, Kentucky. That's the main show. Main course, and unfortunately starting only a half hour later than that at 7 p.m. you have the St. Louis Blues hosting the Seattle Kraken for their home opener. So those are both pretty big games, and I think they'll both be pretty fun to watch. So
I definitely think I'm very excited for that Mizzou game. I really believe that if we can at least finish this year, say in the top 20, you know what I mean, like 18 or something like that, I believe that we're going to have a better recruiting. And I think that we will start next year higher and then just start the process over again to where we're more consistently up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying hell, just go for one of the New Year's bowls, That's what I want.
Right.
Still within reach.
Yep. All righty. Well, we appreciate everybody listening in. And to you, gentlemen, appreciate talking to you guys as I do every week with you. You can catch us here next week on the Hometown Losers podcast. Fuck Chicago. Have a great night, everybody.
Fuck Chicago.
Hey, this is Josh. Thanks for checking out and tuning in to the Hometown Losers podcast. Check us out next week as we continue our silliness and talk a little bit about the St. Louis sports scene. Catch you next week.